Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee. In this show, we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon, and contact Dayspring Discussions on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Well, happy Thursday, everyone. The weekend is almost here. Hope you got some good Father's Day plans. I'm off on Sunday. As of right now, I might just grill out in the back, maybe put some water in that inflatable pool, and just chill out with some beers, but it's supposed to thunderstorm, so we'll see how that goes. Nonetheless, it's going to be a good weekend, guys, because we got a lot of good stuff that's coming out. If you don't already know, tonight in theaters, The Incredibles 2. Early reviews are already coming out for this film, and they're pretty good. People are saying it's as good as the original, if not better, so I am excited to see this. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to see it, but it will be sometime this weekend. I won't do a review separate from my normal show. Probably on Monday I'll talk about it on that show because I'll be able to do a show on Monday. So keep an eye out for that. Go see Incredibles. I'm sure it's going to be great. And then we'll come back next week and talk about it. Also coming out, we got Voltron. Legendary Defenders Season 5 premieres on Netflix tomorrow morning. I spent one night, a couple nights ago, reviewing Season 4. Was it Season 4? Wait, what's the one that's coming out? Season 6 is coming out. Excuse me, Season 5 is what I reviewed. I'm really kind of thrown off by this because going back to, I believe it was Season 4, was it? When they started to do the whole, only 4 episodes or 6 episodes per season. No, it was Season 3 they started to do it, where you got about 7 episodes, and then they took about a break for a couple months, and then you got another season. Then you got a break for a couple months and get another season. As opposed to the normal 10 to 13 episodes. I'm not a big fan of that, but the creators keep on saying that this way you get a couple of episodes, every couple months, which I guess is cool, but I'd rather have a full 13 episodes, maybe once a year. Give me a full storyline in that, and I'd be happy. But nonetheless, I am excited the show is coming back because I love it. I like the original Voltron back in 1984, so I'm excited for this one. It's a modern adaptation that's really going well. If you watch the show, then you know some stuff is about to go down. So Voltron has teamed up with Lotor to take back the Galra Empire and bring peace to the galaxy. A little hiccup in that is that Hagar seems to be not really controlling Shiro, but definitely put something in him to where she's spying on the Paladins through him. And then there was that one scene when all the Voltron members kind of synced up in this kind of mind world, and Shiro subconsciously was trying to warn Lance about what's going on with him. And then they kind of brushed it off. So I'm pretty curious, what's going to come of that. I've known ever since Shiro was found that second time that they let him go, that they did something to him, and eventually Team Voltron or the Paladins were going to have to deal with them. I do enjoy the fact that Lance is probably my favorite character. I like Shiro, I like Keith. Lance, I think is probably more my type of personality, and I like that in this last season they've progressed him a little bit to where maybe even this season he might have to be the one to step up against everyone else and be like, hey, something's wrong with Shiro. We got to take care of him before he takes care of us. Anyway, that comes out Friday morning, so I'm going to be checking that out this weekend. Again, Monday, hopefully I'll do a little review of that, and then you guys can watch it, come back on Monday, and let me know what you think. Speaking of reviews, I'm going to get to my Cloak and Dagger review in just a sec, but one thing I did want to go over was that yesterday, the first issue of The Magic Order came out, written by Mark Millar and drawn by Oliver Coipel. I know I mispronounced that last name. I always do. That's just my thing. If you listen to me, get used to it. But it's the first comic that is conjunction with Millarworld signing an exclusive contract with Netflix. Now, I'm a little thrown off actually because I was expecting to see Netflix brand all over like that first page where it talks about the writers and stuff like that. I only saw it maybe once. What I did see was Image Comics. So I'm going to do a little research and find out what's going on. Is Image helping Netflix make it, or what's going on with that? But nonetheless, I read this issue this morning and it's pretty good. I mean, they've described it as Harry Potter meets the Mafia. And it kind of is. It's about a family of magicians or wizards, and one of their own dies, so they kind of come together a little bit, and they're all dysfunctional, of course. And you see this great dark cloud looming. It's pretty interesting. If you're into that wizardry and magician stuff, definitely check it out. I will say it is very adult, so don't let your kids read this. Just because your kids like Harry Potter, don't let them read this as well. If you've read Mark Millar, you know how graphic it can be with stuff like Nemesis and Kick-Ass, and this is no different. The very first scene, you have a magician who puts a spell on a little kid to go into his parents' room and stab his dad through the head with a knife. So that's a little preview of what you're going to get yourself into. So please don't let your kids read this, but you go read it and let me know what you think. Okay, so last night I sat down on my Hulu and watched the first 2 episodes of Freeform's Cloak and Dagger. So this is based off the Marvel comic series, which honestly I don't know a lot about. I know their powers, but I don't know much about their origin. So I went into this kind of fresh, really, almost like just a regular viewer. So if you haven't watched the first 2 episodes, pause, come back to this later, and then of course fire back on the social media groups and Gmail account. Let me know what you think of it. So Cloak and Dagger follow these 2 kids named Cloak and Dagger. At least that's what it says in IMDb. I'm looking on the IMDb, I'm like, okay, what are the names? What are their names? Oh, they're just all Cloak and Dagger. But I know that's not their names. One of them's Tyrone, and the other one is named something else. Tandy? Is that her name? Yes, Tandy, that's her name. Why on IMDb would they not do that? I don't get it. It's like, how hard is it just to put a name? Yes, it's Tandy and Tyrone. So there you go, guys. Anyway, so they get into an accident as a kid where Tyrone's brother gets shot by the cops and falls into a river. At the same time, Tandy is in a car accident with her dad that falls in the river as well. They both are in the river when this explosion goes off, and they grab each other's hands and pretty much save each other's life. But as they get older, they find out they both have powers where Tyrone, if he puts himself in total darkness and thinks about a place, he can go there. And with Tandy, she has these beams of light that come out of her hand and forms daggers, which saves her from a guy who's about to do some very bad things to her in an episode. They meet up. That's what kind of jump starts their powers. And of course, their lives are just, thrown off balance by the 2 of them. The second episode ends with Tandy getting into a car crash because Tyrone shows up right in front of her. And that's kind of where we end off on the first 2 episodes that premiered. I believe it was last week is when they premiered. Now, I know Freeform used to be known as ABC Family, and some of the programming is not really up my alley. But, I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt here. It is something comic bookish, something fantasy, so I always at least try to check it out. I always try to give things a chance just so I can say I tried it and have a basis of opinion on it. Cloak and Dagger isn't bad. I gotta say it's not that bad. It does have, definitely that Freeform, my so-called teenage life or whatever you call that stuff. It's got a little bit of that in it. But it does have enough fantasy and weirdness to it that I'm going to watch episode 3. I might finish the first season. We'll see how it goes from there. I did kind of like, how their powers, because they're not explaining their powers yet. Usually in these scenarios, there's someone that comes in and explains their powers to them. We haven't done that yet. We know he's got like dark powers, she's got light powers, and then there's a whole thing when they touch people. From what it looks like is Tyrone touches people, being that he's the dark one, he sees kind of their greatest fear. And then with Candy, she kind of sees their greatest wishes, or their wish fulfillment is what it is. That's why she saw her mom happy when she was a little kid with her dad, why she saw her semi-boyfriend and they were married. And then of course Tyrone on the other side, he saw his mom, and her greatest fear is losing both her sons. So you got all that going on along with some powers. It's interesting enough that I'm definitely going to watch episode 3. If you guys haven't checked it out, I just kind of spoiled some stuff for you, so too bad. I warned you beforehand. But nonetheless, go check it out for yourselves. Let me know what you think, and then come back and then we'll have a little talk. Alright guys, last story for the day and probably the week, since I'm not going to be getting a show in for the rest of the week. Warner Brothers has officially revealed the title of the Wonder Woman sequel, and it is indeed going to be Wonder Woman 1984. You got the logo, which is WW84, that's been going around, and kind of to go along with that, director Patty Jenkins and star Gal Gadot have released a couple pictures on Twitter. Gal Gadot posted a picture of herself in front of a bunch of TVs, letting us know that it's not 1917 anymore. We're out of World War I, and she's in the 80s, full of the pop culture and technology, and we'll get to see how she goes and plays with that. But the big reveal, I think, was on Patty Jenkins' Twitter feed when she revealed that Chris Pine, who played Steve Trevor, is coming back. You got a picture of him standing in front of a mall with people that definitely look like they're from the 80s, so no one really knows how he's coming back, given at the end of the first film, he died in a fiery crash, allegedly, of course. You never know how it's going to go. We're playing with magic and gods and stuff like that, so maybe he's some kind of angel sent down from Zeus to help protect Diana again. I don't know. I'm not too thrilled about him coming back, although Chris Pine as an actor was great. I think he was one of the shining moments in the first Wonder Woman film, given the fact that you had an inexperienced lead in Gal Gadot. Chris Pine, I think, really carried that film quite a bit. It was his interactions with her and the things he did that I think really shined and made that film work. Also, Patty Jenkins, of course, great director. If it wasn't for her, the film wouldn't have worked at all. So I'm glad she's coming back. I'm glad she got a pay raise. I'm excited for this film. I'm excited for what's to come in the DCEU, except for Aquaman. I got some issues about that, but allegedly we're going to get an Aquaman trailer sometime soon, so I'm going to save my feelings for that when the trailer comes out. And of course, I might, just get really excited when I see the trailer and change my thoughts altogether. You got Shazam with Zachary Levi. I'm not a big Shazam guy, but I am a Zachary Levi fan, and when I heard he was casted, I thought it was perfect. And then of course, Wonder Woman 2 is starting production. I'm excited for that. You got Gadot, Pine, and then Kristen Wiig is coming in as Cheetah, which I know she's mostly known for her comedy, but she has done a couple dramatic roles, which she does phenomenally as well, so I think she'll be fine. Wonder Woman 1984 is slated to hit theaters November 1st, 2019. I do kind of wish they would not go as far ahead, and I'm very curious about the story because given the fact that they're probably going to keep the timeline and all the continuity of the DCEU films, Wonder Woman at the end, she defeats Ares, Steve Trevor dies, and she walks away. Next time we see her in the timeline is in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. She tells Bruce at the end, 100 years ago, she walked away from humanity. And then in Justice League, the idea of Steve Trevor keeps coming up about why she walked away from humanity and not being its protector like she feels she should have. You can add Steve Trevor to that and maybe add another layer, which is what's good. But as we know, Steve Trevor died in World War I, and that's the events we're talking about in the Justice League. Could be he comes back in some way and dies again, which would kind of be lame in my opinion if they killed him again in this one. I don't. That's just me. You're gonna bring Chris Pine back and kill him every time. It just, I don't know. It's big gimmick in my opinion. So we'll see what they do. But nonetheless, I am excited for Wonder Woman 2 to come out. I think it's gonna be cool. It's set in 1984. I wonder if they're gonna play it all with the book 1984. Kind of that dystopian thing. Maybe they're gonna play with the Cold War a bit. That's what I'm assuming. So we'll wait and see, guys. But go online, check out the photos if you haven't, read up on it, and get ready for Wonder Woman 2. Well, that's it, guys. That is it for today and for the week. Like I said, next week I should be able to do a show on Monday where I'm going to talk about some Voltron and The Incredibles 2. And then hopefully one other show I can get to next week as well. We'll check and see. Schedules change. Things change. I'll do the best I can, guys. But until then, go on your social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter, and of course, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Let me know what you think about the things I have talked about today. Let me know if you're going to check out Incredibles 2 and Voltron. Wonder Woman 1984. Are you cool with that? Would you rather be set differently? Let me know, guys. And of course, Cloak and Dagger. What'd you think of it? Hit me up. That's for me today, guys. Until next time, may the Force be with us all.